I'm going to be reading Crooked Kingdom for the first time and documenting it like I did with Six of Crows. I'm excited because when I was reading Six of Crows, I said there were no gays, and everybody commented that I should just wait for Crooked Kingdom and there will be gays. So as a gay, I'm very excited about this fact. So Inej is clearly MVP. I gotta be honest, I liked Nina and Matthias' whole dynamic in the first book, but I kind of felt like their story resolved at the end of the first book, so I'm like, why are we still giving them so much screen time? Like, I liked my characters, but like, I don't care about their dynamic anymore. I've moved on. I'm about 230-ish pages in, and I'm just not really enjoying it as much as the first book. I can't really put my finger on it, but I think it's that there's more plot and less character development, but also the more plot isn't like one unified concept. The first book centered around a heist, and that was kind of driving the plot forward, but in this one, it's just kind of feeling like a string of random events, so I'm struggling a bit. Crooked Kingdom for the first time, part 2. So we're finally getting some gay action. And by that I mean Jesper and Wylan just shared a few moments. But now I'm like, did Matthias just make a homophobic comment? Jesper's talking about how he doesn't usually get sick, and Matthias is like, are you sure about that? Because there are many different kinds of sicknesses. And there's like no context for this comment, but we know that Matthias' whole upbringing was essentially just Christian purity culture, so I wouldn't be surprised. Big yike! I'm a bit disappointed because I feel like Kaz and Inej are the most interesting part of this series, and they're getting the least amount of page time. Like, I like all of the characters, but I'm like, I don't like you enough to be focusing on you right now. It feels like the main characters have side character screen time, and the side characters are getting all of the attention. Is that just me? I must not have been paying good attention because Nina's raising the dead, and I'm like, when? I'm just out here enjoying this lovely summery day in the middle of April. And I was honestly kind of bored. I'm struggling with this one more than the first one, which is really weird because I loved the first one. But shit has just started to hit the fan, and I'm like, oh, I'm enthralled. He calls Jesper Jordy, and they're like, who the hell's that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, the truth might come out. P.S. I'm not naked, I'm just wearing a bathing suit. Wylan and Jesper are kissing. Finally. Such a sweet first kiss, though. I'm gonna take it back. I was like, this is taking a weird turn, and then it turned out it wasn't even Wylan. Yikes! I can't tell you how much I'm living for this kissing plot twist, purely because it means that the assumption is that, like, gay people are everywhere, and it's a possibility. Like, just from a queer rep perspective, I love the fact that there's no, like, coming out or, like, we know these characters are gay. It just so happens that one of them was, and it led to this. Reading Crooked Kingdom, part 3. Shameless self-promotion. I just released a song based on Six of Crows today, and there's a line in the bridge that says, "We'll take the city, might burn it down." And I hadn't finished reading Crooked Kingdom yet. I just threw that in there because I felt like it fit the vibe. And Kaz literally just said he might burn the city down. Oh my gosh. I freaking love it when that happens. Just makes me feel like I've really understood the characters. Finally, we're getting some Kaz and Inej action. And it's so sad. Like, they almost had a moment, and then like Kaz's trauma came back, and I'm just like, these poor babies, I just want them to be happy. Reading Crooked Kingdom part 5? I'm sure I'm gonna disappoint a lot of you by saying I don't like this book, but if it wasn't clear by now, it should be, since I think I started reading it like 3 months ago, maybe even 4. And I still have like 100 pages left. It's a really bad sign when you're almost at the end of the book and you still can't bring yourself to finish it. I don't know what it is exactly because I loved the first one, but I'm just really struggling with the sequel, so this is my attempt to finish it. Finally, we are picking up again. Kaz's confrontation with Pekka Rollins, where he like pretends that he's buried his son alive, was just chef's kiss. But honestly, like, when are him and Inej gonna get together? Matthias learning to love Nina is like me being raised Christian and trying to unlearn my gay shame. I knew Matthias died, but I'm still tearing up. It was so beautifully written, and also, he's my least favorite character, so I'm surprised that I care this much. Props to her writing. Reading Crooked Kingdom, part 6. The most satisfying part of this book for me is Wylan inheriting his father's estate. I'm just about to the end, and they're all talking about what they're gonna do next with all of their money, and Cass is like, build something new. Watch it burn. It's just so perfect. The most precious thing ever is when Kaz finds Inej's family, and she's like, come meet them. And he's like, is my tie straight? Like, It's just like the most, like, I don't know. It's killing me because he's so scary, but it's just such a like adorable question. When Inej goes to give Pekka Rollins like the thread at the end, and she's like, this is the first cut, come back and I'll make a second. All I can think is, the first cut is the deepest. Okay, so I finally finished like 3 months later. Overall, I really love these characters, so that led to some really satisfying moments, but up until the final reveals, I did find this a little boring.